guys, welcome to a brand new video. Today this video is mainly for my new moms to be. I remember when I was pregnant with my daughter, I used to look up these videos a lot, so I am super excited to go ahead and share a few tips with you guys. I am sharing 10 tips. They've been so helpful. They've made our lives easier. So the first tip is the one thing I tell everyone that's gonna have kids: go ahead and do what works for you. Honestly, nobody is gonna be there waking up with the baby and you at 3 in the morning. Nobody's gonna help you change their diapers a bunch of times a day. They might help you once or twice, but they won't help you all day, you know what I mean? So you always have to do what works for you, your baby, and your family. Just because society says you have to breastfeed, if breastfeeding is not for you, you don't have to do it. If you want to formula feed, go ahead and do that. If you want to sleep train, go ahead and sleep train. If you don't, then don't do it. It's completely up to you. And I feel like us as women are always expected to do so many things because society says that we're supposed to do it, and honestly it's completely up to us and what works for our baby. So always do what's best for you and that baby. The next tip that I have is for my breastfeeding moms, and that is get a manual pump and a haka if you are thinking about pumping. Obviously I recommend pumping, but it's completely up to you. If you don't want to do it, don't do it, like I said. But if you have an electric pump, I would definitely invest in a manual pump and in a haka. A haka is just this device that you just put on your boob, and then it just catches all the letdown that you'll have when you're breastfeeding, so you can go ahead and store that milk and just feed it to the baby later on as well. For the manual pump, I use the Medela one. It's great, especially if you are in the car, if you're going on a road trip and you can't plug in the electric pump to the car. You can just use your hand pump if you need to just relieve a little bit. The third tip that I have is also for my breastfeeding moms. If you're breastfeeding, I highly recommend that you give your baby at least 1 bottle a day. And that is because if you get that baby to just breastfeed, once you have to leave the baby with someone, it's going to be extremely hard for that baby to take a bottle. I remember I started giving her a bottle early on because I had some issues breastfeeding at first, so I would give her a bottle sometimes, and then once this whole quarantine happened, I stopped giving her a bottle for 2 months straight because I was always there with her. And then one day that I just told her dad to give her a bottle, she would not take it, and we were fighting her for a whole hour for her to take a bottle. So definitely give the baby a bottle once a day. That's just gonna make your life easier. That's gonna give you a little bit of a break whenever you need it. You'll be able to leave to work, to just have some time for yourself. So I definitely recommend that. The fourth tip that I have is to go ahead and implement a dream feed. And if you don't know what that is, it just means an extra feeding. I would do it right before I went to bed, and I would just pick her up really fast and feed her. I didn't really change her diaper or anything, unless of course if she pooped, then I would change her. But if it was just pee, then I would just leave her like that. I wouldn't even wake her up. I would just kind of put the boob in her mouth or a bottle and just have her feed a little bit so she can be full for a longer time, and then you can get a longer stretch of sleep. That definitely helped a lot, and that I think that's one of the reasons why it was a little bit easier for her to sleep through the night. And anytime I did the dream feed, she would sleep until like 4 or 5 instead of 2 in the morning. So that is something that I definitely think that you should go ahead and try out once you have your baby. My next tip is, if you are breastfeeding and breastfeeding is extremely painful, that you cannot handle it anymore, go ahead and have the lactation consultant check for a tongue tie. I actually learned from somebody's video. I remember the second night at the hospital, it was awful. Like, this girl wanted to eat every hour and it hurt so bad, and I was like, wait, let me ask them to check for a tongue tie, and she did have one. So after the lactation consultant told me that she looked like she had one, they had me take her to at her doctor's appointment. A few days later, I had them check again, and then they just clipped it really quick. But yeah, have them check. Even if it hurts a little bit, just ask them really fast. It's not gonna hurt to ask, and that's just gonna make breastfeeding so much easier, I promise you. My next tip is to stock up in a lot of nursing or pumping bras if you are breastfeeding. And I'm so sorry, all these tips are mostly breastfeeding related. I'm breastfed, so these are some things that help me. But definitely go ahead and get a few, at least 5 nursing or pumping bras. I used to have one from Amazon, and I wish I would have bought maybe like 3 more just because they get dirty so quickly and you have to wash them constantly. I will go ahead and link it down below in case you guys are interested in looking at it. I know Target has some and I know Walmart has some as well, so I will take a look at those. My next tip is not breastfeeding related. Every time you bathe your baby, I don't know if you're planning on washing their hair every single time you bathe them. I used to at first, I don't anymore. Take a soft brush and just brush their head just a little bit, and that will go ahead and avoid cradle cap. I know my daughter had it maybe for like a week, and if they do get it, you can go ahead and put some natural oil on their head and just let it sit there for maybe like an hour or two, and then once you bathe them, just go ahead and brush that off. It's really hard to get the oil off. That's the only downside, but it works really well. My next tip is something that I did not do and I regret it so much, and that is try to soft sleep train your baby. And I don't mean like the cry out method or anything, but when they are newborns, they fall asleep really easily and they can fall asleep on their own. Try to make that a habit. Don't try to keep them awake while they're nursing and then putting them down so they can go to sleep, and that way they can get used to just falling asleep without your help. My daughter doesn't do that. I have to rock her to sleep. I have to feed her to sleep. It can get really tiring once they start getting a little bit heavier, so that's something that I definitely recommend. We're probably gonna start sleep training soon just because she is so heavy, and sometimes just rocking her to sleep is a workout. So we'll definitely go ahead and try maybe in a few weeks. Hopefully this will be our 3rd time. They say that the 3rd time is the charm though, so I think that's something that we'll do. But yeah, just try to get them to get used to falling asleep on their own, and that is just gonna make life easier for you. My next tip is to go ahead and let the dad take over sometimes. I know as moms we can get really nervous because we feel like they're not gonna do things right, but they need to figure it out like you do, and the more you let them be involved, the easier your life is gonna be, and then they will not have an excuse to say, oh well, I don't know how to do this. So yeah, just let him get involved, let him figure it out. He's gonna learn how to take care of the baby. You can guide them along the way. Don't try to like hover over him and kind of like get mad when he doesn't do things right. Just be really patient because this is new to him too. My next tip is to get a white noise machine. Get a good one. The one that we have is the Hatch Baby, and I really like it. It's a little bit on the pricier side. I think I paid like $59 for it, but it connects to your phone, so you can just turn it on from there. You can set timers. It's a nightlight as well, which is really nice. And they also have the one that's kind of like a monitor. You can hear the baby as well. I just got the basic one, but we really like it, and it has a bunch of different sounds, and I will go ahead and link that down below as well if you want to get that. I had to go grab her really fast. I heard her crying. She woke up from her nap. So those are the 10 tips that I wanted to share with you guys, and I will go ahead and work on another list just to see if I can possibly do a part 2 to this video. I know there were a lot more things that I was doing to make my life easier, and I know that I really love these videos, and hopefully you will implement one of these tips that I just gave you. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a like and share with your mom friends. I would really appreciate it. It would really help me a lot. And also consider subscribing if you want to see more content like this. I really want to make more mommy videos, interior design videos, lifestyle, stuff like that. If those are things that you enjoy watching, go ahead and subscribe, and I will go ahead and list all my social media down below if you want to follow me on that as well. And like I said before, I will go ahead and put the links in the description box in case you do want to purchase any of these things. But that will be all for today. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one. Bye.